really difficult to get on camera what I want to talk about today. It's hard to record it candidly because it's not something that you normally just share and talk about. And it's so heavy to talk about this sort of thing without, I don't know, opening up Pandora's box a little bit. But yesterday I shared a little bit about how in the last season of my life I struggled with some depression, among other issues. And I've never talked about that out loud, namely with myself out loud. I mean, my wife and I have discussed that that's probably what was going on. We've had conversations about, look, I think this is what's going on. But I've never actually tried to unpack it, tried to understand what the depression meant to me, still means to me. And so trying to explain that on camera and also not make light of the subject. I want you to know that if the depression that I struggled with was a mild version of of what depression can really take hold of certain people. And if you are struggling deeply with depression, if it's gotten a hold of you and that weight has gotten a hold of you so much that you feel stuck, that you feel trapped, that you feel that there's no way out, there's no other purpose, no other reason, please ask for help. I promise you that it exists. I promise you that there is a way out. I promise you that there is always light at the end of that tunnel, and there is a way to escape it. So I don't want to make light of depression that can really root itself in your life and do that. I do want to share with you how depression affected my life. I believe that the type of depression that had me was a weight of a handbag of no's, failures that I kept putting in my backpack of life. At some point in time, and I think it was around 2009, when probably one of the greatest undertakings I had ever really gone after wholeheartedly. My friend and I, my brother-in-law and I, we decided to open up a concept that was kind of an agency style thing, super ahead of its time, and it was called the Collide Factory. And basically, it was this massive project where we were going to have creatives from all over South Florida come be part of this, fantastic open source style agency. And at that point in time, it was just that kind of thing was still a little underground. The whole co-working thing and stuff, it was pretty underground. It was new. It was fresh. So we rented this massive fertilizer warehouse that we gutted, cleaned up, made into something gorgeous. And just as we were about to open, just as we had spent a year prepping this thing, we ran out of money. Before we could open our doors, we ran out of money. And unfortunately, had to leave that warehouse. And it was a very raw experience, a very public and embarrassing experience for me. And that, I believe, is what started the doubt. And for me, I don't know exactly when I realized depression had taken hold of me, but I do know that it was at that moment that I doubted my abilities. I doubted what I had learned my entire life. I doubted if I was able to even do this again. And from there, I still ran full steam ahead, starting a next project and a next project, and then there was an uncertainty that followed with me. That doubt of failure, I carried that weight with me through every next circumstance. thinking to myself, just as we're about to launch, or just as something was about to be a success, um, or just be alive, it I told myself it was a failure. It can't work. And I would abandon the project. And over the course of 5, 7 years, all of those micro no's, all of the little failures that you keep putting on your bag, they become very heavy. And it becomes very difficult to try and find out what you are, who you are. And so I believe that depression, for most people, starts with doubt, maybe some fear. But I believe that the uncertainty of something is probably the root of most depression. And finding your self-esteem is no easy task. Refinding the drive to say, yes, I am a success. I will do it. I can do it. I'm going to be at the top. I'm going to accomplish everything that I want to accomplish. Finding that is no easy feat. It's like trying to find this little charm, this book of the instruction manual on how to get out of a box, but the box is totally dark. You know it's there. You know it's somewhere in this box, and that box could feel very big. And the more that you're in depression, that box can get bigger and bigger and bigger, so that it feels harder and harder and harder to find its instructions to get out of the box. And so you're sitting there and you feel like you're just kind of like grasping for anything in a box, that you're trying to find anything that is tangible to hang on to that can give you a sense of familiarity for it being inside of this box. But all you really want to do is find the instructions, the way out. You want to get that piece of paper that says, if you do this, 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 and this, then you can get out of the box. And man, for me, I never found those instructions. The instructions, I don't even know if exist to get out of the box, because what you have to do is you have to lay on your box and you have to kick the shit out of the wall that's next to it until finally it starts to bend a little bit, that a little crack of light comes out of that box. And you keep kicking. You keep kicking the wall, and you change your circumstances. You flip it upside down and you say, there's no instruction manual for the way out of this. I just have to get it. I just have to kick the sidewall out of that box and keep kicking and keep kicking and keep kicking until finally you see enough light that you can just rip that shit open. And that is where I'm finding myself. At some point in time, I just decided to change everything, to look at my circumstances entirely different. And I can't tell you for sure that it's going to work, but what I can tell you is that right now, in this moment, it is working. Those walls are coming down, and there is something rebirthing inside of me that I need to share and I need for you to know about. I don't know. This train is leaving the station, and I want as many people to be on board with it. So I'll leave it at that. Tomorrow we can talk a little bit about some of the things. I'll write a list down so we can share with some of the things that are going on, so that this isn't just loose-ended. But today I just want to leave it with that. If you feel like you're in that box, if you feel like depression has got you, figure out a way to change your circumstances. Figure out a way to look at the problem from a different angle. And that's going to be very difficult. But if you can figure out a way to look at it from a different angle, then you might just figure out which wall it is that you got to kick down in order to escape. Anyway, it's the weekend. Hope you have a great weekend. I will see you tomorrow morning.